Hi everybody, it's Dr. Dave from Dr. Dave's Best, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about TA-65 and athletic performance. But first, let me credentialize myself. I'm one of the original 7 distributors of TA-65. I wrote the original manual, doctor's manual, on TA-65 for TA Sciences, and I also co-authored this book, The Immortality Edge, which I hope you have a copy of and have read, because it still remains the only guide to telomeres and telomere science for the lay public. When I first got started on TA-65, and by the way, I'm now in my 3rd year on this product, I got started for a very interesting reason. I was fascinated by telomeres and telomere biology even then, of course, and it was a relatively new science from the standpoint of how telomeres affected longevity. And I listened to Dr. Bill Andrews, who's a dear friend of mine, and it was fascinating hearing about his research and how amazing it was that the telomeres could reset the biologic time clocks of cells, and essentially, in at least some types of cells, not only slow down the aging process, but actually reverse it. But the real thing that got me started on TA-65 was the last words of Dr. Andrews' lecture, which had to do with his career as an ultra runner. I also run ultra runs. As you may know, I have another website called theraceagainstdeath.org, where I chronicle my training efforts and my running efforts in a race called the Canadian Death Race. And as a longevity physician, I hope you see the sort of backhanded humor in that whole concept. And when Bill was talking about TA-65 and telomeres, he went on to say about how it really improved his running performance, and he started finishing first in his age range, and he went from back of the pack running to front of the pack running. So I got on TA-65 primarily because I was interested in improving my athletic performance and having an easier time of running this incredible Canadian Death Race. And I would say within about 3 weeks of starting the product, and it was high dose, that's 4 a day, I took about 1 minute off my 1 mile interval training times. Now for those of you who run, you understand that a reduction of 1 minute off a mile in a few weeks doing absolutely nothing else is almost unheard of, and I can't believe it was anything else but the TA-65. So I've used TA-65 successfully in my athletic career. It's always helped me recover faster and definitely improves my performance, and whenever I do anything that is significantly above and beyond what I would normally do, I always take a full dose that's 4 TA-65 a day. For those of you who are interested in experiencing this, even if you're only on 1 capsule a day of TA-65, what I suggest you do is the day of your event, or the day before your event at the very longest out, so to speak, I would take 4, and then after the event is over, go back to your regular dose, or even down the road skip a couple of days if you have to make up so you're not running out sooner. But you'll find that when you take a high dose of TA-65, some pretty incredible things happen, and you will feel it right away. Now in my practice, because I was one of the original people to distribute this product, I had a lot of interest over the years from athletes, and not just masters athletes, not just people over 40. There are a significant number of people's names that you would recognize, people that you've seen on TV on TA-65, and you'll say, well, Doc, how comes you can't tell us their names? Number 1, client-doctor privilege. I'm not allowed to do that without their permission. And number 2, frankly, most of these people are not going to lend their testimonials unless you pay them. That's the sad reality. But I will tell you that in the mixed martial arts world, in the boxing world, in the professional and amateur cycling world, in the track and field world, and just about every sport you can imagine, I have somebody who is either world-class or extremely high level on the product. So if you're interested in experiencing a legal, non-banned substance, even if you are under the age of 35 or 40, you will find that you're not alone. There are people in their 20s and 30s using this specifically for athletic performance. Just last week I got an email from a doctor who's probably in his early 40s telling me that he set a personal best when he did what I said, which was to take a high dose of TA-65 before his event. And these kinds of things I hear often. So once again, TA-65 is not just, in my opinion, a great way to longevity. I think it is an incredible way to legally enhance your athletic performance. So for those of you who are serious about your athletics, or are about to crank up your athletic endeavors, it's worth it. And you can bet your bottom dollar, the closer I get to the death race, the more of this high-dose TA-65 I'm going to take. We'll see you next time for the next video. Thanks again for your attention.